and welcome to the Clark Athletic Center for a Little East Conference doubleheader between a pair of teams that are red hot on the women's side. Southern Maine's won 9 of 11, the Beacons 14 of 15, tied at 6-1 in second place in the Little East Conference. Both sides playing for the first time today, a scheduling quirk. Both of these teams will play twice in their last 6 games of the LEC schedule, battling not only potentially for a second place spot, but just a game behind UMass Dartmouth. We'll take a commercial break and be back with our pregame show right here on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown, and it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments you never forget.
Welcome back to the Clark. My name is Seth Rensky, bringing you the action. I'll have Gigi Braga joining me shortly. Looking at the all-time series, it's not pretty if you're a Beacons fan. The good news is the Beacons have been a lot better as of late. UMass Boston trails the all-time series 69-3, but it was 67-0 in favor of Southern Maine until the Beacons earned their first win on the road 3 years ago. The Beacons have won 3 straight on the road, but just haven't quite been able to reach the pinnacle and earn a win over Southern Maine here at home. The last 4 home games here at the Clark, the Beacons have lost by a combined 12 points, including a 4-point loss a year ago after winning by 18 at Southern Maine. The Beacons are going to earn that win. They're going to rely heavily on our player to watch. Joie Grassi is one of the top 2 freshmen in the entire Little East Conference, and both of them will start today. Kristen currently on the Southern Maine side has had a phenomenal streak, but starting the year it was all Joie Grassi amongst LEC freshmen. Leads the Beacons in points, rebounds, field goal percentage, 3-point field goal percentage, and block shots. She was rated one of the top shooters in all of Division III back in December. She's going through a bit of a cold spell. Beacons need a little bit more out of her, just 15 points or fewer in each of the past 4. She's a player easily capable of going off for 20 to 25 points on any given night. Right now, we'll take a look at the highlights from Saturday. The Beacons comfortably earned a 73-40 win over Keene State College.
Off the Vital, fakes the pass to Grassi, near side, instead goes far side, Raven Kelsey from long range, off back iron it out. Good offensive rebound. Near side, Matthew Kelsey, pop fake, nice dribble drive, dance it off to Quinones, nice drive with the left hand and up.
Obviously a very decorated career.
Three-point line, hands off down low. Another rejection from UMass Boston. Getting her own rebound. Eight spot that came in with just 9 players. And there's a beautiful defensive play by Purcell, but an even better effort. Dishes it out for Grassi from long range. Gets her own rebound and lays it out. By the duo in the backcourt. Connected there. 30 seconds on the shot. Vital from long range. Dribbles between 2 defenders. Taps it out for one. Beautiful hand up. Off the iron and out. Rebound taken in by Vital. And now the Beacons coming back the other way. Fast break 3 on 2. Nice look for Matthew. Get the last shot. The Beacons up by 12 in the first half. Purcell hands it off. Takes pass from long range. Drills it. And that's Matthew gets to Kelsey down low for Joie Grassi. Grassi hitting Matthew. Pull up 3-pointer and keeps the first half. The Beacons are 3 for 9. Home down low. Nice try from Quinones. Down low for the Owls from successful for UMass Boston. Gets out far side. Matthew looking for another. The other way. 8:30 to go in regulation. As Oscar turns right down low to Williams. That's his first trying to drive it on Oscar. It's the long throw back out. Long 3-point. See if we see any more. Grassi, she wants in on the action. Then intercepts it. If we know it's saying it's the free throw. Where they call, when they call it, I think he came after the ball. Grassi
Hello and welcome back to Boston, Massachusetts for the site of the first of two meetings between these two sides. They'll face off again on Valentine's Day on a game that very well could potentially go a long way into deciding who finishes first or potentially second in the Little East Conference. Both teams still have a game left at home against UMass Dartmouth, who's all alone in first place at 7-0. Right now, we'll take a look at the conference standings right now, and you see both of these teams finished towards the bottom of the LEC last year, both teams finishing with losing records, but this year, UMass Boston and Southern Maine, both red hot right now. The Beacons have won 14 of their last 15. Southern Maine 0-6 to start the year, 9-8 overall. And Gigi, this game could go a long way to not only determining the LEC standings, but to determining how the rest of these teams' seasons go, knowing that it's going to take a lot to catch up to UMass Dartmouth in the long run.
Yeah, both of these teams have a huge task at hand tonight. It's a battle for second place, and both of them having lost to UMass Dartmouth, last week. This is going to be a big game for them to fight for second place because they both see Dartmouth again in the next couple of weeks, the next couple of games, and it's just going to be a big momentum changer. The winner of this game could potentially go on and beat UMass Dartmouth. Both teams played very close games against the number one team in the LEC right now, so very big night for both teams. Could go either way for their season.
Right now, we'll take a look at the team statistics, and you see Southern Maine team that finished just about 50 points per game a year ago, up to 64.3. They're just under in terms of giving up more points than they've scored this year, but a big part of that was 0-6 to start the year, outscored by a lot against a lot of really good quality teams. They saw a top 10 team in Bowdoin. They played a couple other strong non-conference opponents. The biggest battle today is actually going to come from behind the three-point line. UMass Boston tops in the conference in three-point field goal percentage. Southern Maine, second best field goal percentage defense when it comes to behind the arc. So that could play a big factor, but also, Gigi, that rebounding margin.
That's what I was going to say. You're looking at the three-point field goal percentage. I'm looking at the rebounding margin. Right now, Joie Grassi is the leading rebounder for UMass Boston, and you got Chantel Eels for the Huskies. But when you look at those numbers, and the Beacons are just a good rebounding team. They got players like Shania Osborne, Naira Mitchell, girls who are taller than 6 feet tall, and they're rebounding machines. And the Huskies, they don't go that deep into their bench, and so that means that their starting five is going to have a lot to handle with these players.
Well, we'll take a look at the team leaders, and we've already talked about Joie Grassi on the Beacon side. Kristen Curley has been every bit as good, if not better, especially here in 2018. Conference's sixth leading scorer. She's averaging over 20 points per game in conference play. She's just ahead of Grassi in field goal percentage, second overall, just behind Grassi in three-point field goal percentage and blocks. And then this Southern Maine team relies heavily on her, but they have some nice role players. You talk about Alexa Shrilovitz, Emily Nicholson, and Chantel Eels. It's not a one-woman show for the Huskies in this hot streak where they've won 9 of 11.
Oh, when you look at the statistics, it kind of looks like it's a one-woman show with, Grassi leading the Beacons, Curley leading the Huskies. But it's going to come down to a lot of their role players, like you said, Seth. And everyone's kind of going to have their role. And right now it seems like a battle of the freshmen, and who's going to get, Rookie of the Year or whatever. But it's going to come down to players like Vital, like Kelsey, like Eels, like Shrilovitz, to play their role in this game and both teams trying to come up with a W.
Right now, we'll take a look at the two coaches. Both coaches in their third year looking for their best season to date. Both teams had winning seasons their first year. In fact, Christina Ball, who just walked out of our picture, led the Beacons to the LEC championship game her first year. Samantha Allen, a winning season. Now they're back to winning ways and potentially a chance for that first ever LEC title. Allen, really a maniac. She played her college ball at Colby College. Her mom, her stepmom, and her dad all went to Southern Maine, so she certainly has a lot of ties to the university. She replaced longtime head coach Gary Fifield, who retired after 30 years. Turn to the Beacon side. Well, Christina Ball walked off our picture. Now she's joining her assistant coaches. But Ball's a woman who worked really hard in recruiting along with her staff that's sitting to her left and right, and that's a big reason why the Beacons went from 9-19 to 15-2 here in 2017-18.
When you get a coach like Christina Bahu, this is kind of her first year as creating her own team and recruiting and getting all of her freshmen. And when you bring in 14 freshmen, at first you're expecting a little bit of inconsistency. They're all young. They don't have that much of that veteran aspect. But then you throw in players like Katie Matthew, Raven Kelsey, Lydia Vital, who are experienced players that can lead this team and can lead these groups of 14 new faces, and that's great by Christina Ball, recruiting a bunch of kids who are just hungry for wins.
We're going to take a quick commercial break for part of the national anthem, and then we'll be back with the starters for both of these sides and our keys to the game. We're just about to get underway in today's Little East Conference doubleheader.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Well, right now we'll take a look at Southern Maine starters. We still have a moment. A lot of these are the familiar names. This Southern Maine team doesn't go all that deep. They have a couple players inactive today, so it's an even smaller roster that only runs about 14, 15 overall. Shrilovitz, Curley, Nicholson, Eels, and Howergan. A lot of veterans alongside Kristen Curley. A lot of players who have had some scoring success the last couple of games. We'll take a break for the national anthem, and then we'll be back with the Beacon starters and the keys to the game.
My name is Joie Grassi. I'm a freshman, I'm a forward, and I'm from Plymouth, Mass.
My name is Lydia Vital. I'm from Cambridge, Mass. I'm a senior, and I'm a point guard.
Katie Matthews, senior guard, Coventry, Connecticut. Hi, I'm Shania Osborne, a freshman center from Fairfield, Connecticut.
Raven Kelsey, senior guard, Boston, Massachusetts.
And we're back at the Clark Athletic Center. We've already seen the Beacon starters. They're going to go with the same unit that started the past 3 games. So UMass Boston has used the combo of Shania Osborne and Joie Grassi to great success. A nice high-low option between a pair of bigs. Right now we'll take a look at our keys to the game. And Gigi, there were a lot of different options. But in my mind, it really starts with limiting Kristen Curley. You're not going to stop her. She went off for 36 on Saturday in a 79-77 win. 17 points by herself in the first quarter, all the team's points. But you have to find a way to keep her from going off if you're going to comfortably win this game or even just pull off a victory, what would be a historic victory here at the Clark.
Yeah, and we talked about this prior to being on the broadcast, Seth, as what we would do if we were in Christina Baugh's shoes tonight into limiting Curley. And you're going to see a bunch of different players. You know, you might see Raven Kelsey take her turn at her because she is, 5'10". She's got that height. We probably won't see a lot of Lydia Vital on her just due to the height disadvantage that Vital's got on Curley, but definitely have to limit what she does. She's going to produce for the Huskies no matter what you do. She's a great three-point shooter. She's shooting very well from the field, good free throw shooter. It's very hard for what she can't do. So you're going to expect to see a lot of offense also from the Beacons, like they say, like you have there, generate open three-point looks. You got players like Grassi, like Vital. Katie Matthew the other day went off for 3 straight three-pointers. The Beacons can produce from the arc, and that's what they're going to look to do today.
Look at Curley in conference play, 20 points per game, 55% field goal percentage, and just under 5 rebounds per game. One interesting note, we talked about it a little already, Southern Maine has 10 active players today. We've seen the Beacons go 12, 13 deep over the last couple of games, so it'll be interesting to see if Southern Maine gets worn down at any point. A lot of these players are used to playing 28, 29, 30 minutes, but maybe not yet necessarily used to playing against the Beacons team that has such fresh legs at this point of the year.
I mean, we saw UMass Boston earlier in the season do the same thing with, I believe it was Eastern Connecticut State, who didn't go too deep in their roster, and they kind of started burning out their starting five a little bit. The Beacons are probably going to play 12 to 15, and that's, you know, an extra 5 players that they have over the Huskies, and that's a whole rotation that you got right there. And even players who don't see that much time deep in the Beacons roster can still produce a couple of points here and there for the Beacons to, you know, give their starters a little bit of time.
Another thing to watch, Megan Dixon, the Beacons' second leading scorer, has not been with the team, at least on the floor for the last 6 games, has been practicing. We expect her to be back. Another good scorer and a pretty good three-point shooter as well. Southern Maine wins the tip in the blue uniforms. Eels loses it, able to tap it over for Curley. Dishes it off in and out of the hands of Eels for a second time this possession alone. 12 seconds left on the shot clock with Kelsey guarding Curley. Down to 8 seconds. Looking to drive to her left. Kicks over to Curley with 4. Needs to do something with it. Gives it off a deep 3. And that one is too strong out of the hands of Emily Nicholson.
And that's what you love to see from the Beacons there. That's good shot clock defense. You burn them out for the whole 30 seconds, and you get a good rebound off that. Great way to start the game.
Katie Matthew with it up top to Vital. Southern Maine in a 2-3 defense. The Beacons were in a man to start. Vital over for Kelsey. Down low to Osborne. Kicks it across. Wide open Matthew. Tries to slide it back for Vital. Slowed down, but not taken away. And Kelsey's too strong on the 3. Gets her own rebound. A little bit of contact. They're going to say that's off on the Beacons. Interesting no call there. It looked like Kelsey got there first, but Sherlovitz is able to tap it off of her, and Kelsey appears to be okay. She reties her shoelaces.
I love the selfless act by Katie Matthew there in the corner, but if she's got 2 or 3 feet of open space there, you'd love to see her just take a shot for you. She's a good 3-point shooter.
Nicholson, who missed the deep 3 into Eels. Backdoor cut, able to find Sherlovitz. Curley thought about it, finds Eels, working on Osborne, rejected, and Shania is able to grab the rebound. Beacons pushing in transition. Vital ahead for Matthew. 1 dribble, too strong. Osborne and Grassi collide, and that cost the Beacons a chance at an easy 2.
That's something you hate to see there. That's just miscommunication there. They're both trying to go for the rebound and end up losing the ball.
Sherlovitz looking for an option. 20 on the shot clock. Still scoreless here in the first quarter. Dish it across for Eels at the elbow. Beacons had a wide open Nicholson all alone at the 3-point line. Fortunate she didn't get the ball. Vital in transition once again, slowed up, wide open. Grassi from the top of the key. She's too strong, and the rebound into the hands of Curley. 2 minutes gone by, no points. A lot of shots that are missing long. Wide open shot from the top of the key, and our first basket comes out of the hands of Kimberly Hourigan for 3.
The Beacons got to get their offense going on a little bit here, you know. It's just a couple slow starts to the game. They're a little bit unorganized. In the next, you know, at least by the end of the first quarter, they're definitely going to be looking to get on a rhythm.
Vital picked up her dribble over for Grassi. Kelsey from the corner. Southern Maine extends this 2-3 defense. Vital looks to attack. Over for Grassi, who's 0 for 1 from distance. Struggled shooting the ball a little bit last week. Osborne, a strong move to the tin, and she's able to get it to go off the back of the rim.
And that's something that the Huskies defense is going to have to deal with constantly. If Osborne can stay out of foul trouble, which she has struggled with a little bit, she can be a force to reckon with in the paint.
Osborne is now 10 of her last 10. Last 2 games was 9 for 9 with 20 points in 26 minutes of play after being inserted into the starting lineup. Going to get a hand check foul on Joie Grassi, who is reaching in to slow down Hourigan. And it's going to be on the floor, so Southern Maine will retain possession with a new 30.
That's something you see there, Joie Grassi giving up the baseline, which is something you never want to do. It's the easiest way to get to the basket if you're the Huskies. You definitely got to learn to give off that baseline.
A long inbounds pass, able to find Hourigan, who has the lone points for Southern Maine. Eels nearly loses it there. Struggled with the handle a couple times early on. Sherlovitz looks to drive on the smaller Vital. Eels, a little bit out of her shooting range. Back for Sherlovitz with 15 on the shot clock. 3-2 Southern Maine in the early going. Eels goes to work on Osborne, who strips it away. And they're going to say it's out of bounds off of UMass Boston as Osborne couldn't quite collect it.
And that's a battle right there. Chantel Eels is going to have to deal with Shania Osborne and vice versa on both sides right there. That's a great matchup that you love to see.
The issue is Eels is listed at 5'11", Osborne at 6 foot, and has a decent size advantage as well. Down to 4 on the shot clock. Sherlovitz, a deep 2, drains it.
That's just a great shot over there by Sherlovitz. Nothing really Lydia Vital could do. She got a couple steps ahead of her, try to put your hands up at that point and just hope the ball doesn't go in.
Southern Maine holding on to a 5-2 lead. 3.5 minutes into the first quarter. Vital working on Sherlovitz. Osborne from the free throw line. Beacons trying to swing it across. Kelsey looking to tie it, and she's short this time. Kelsey in transition. That shot was altered. Osborne, the offensive rebound, goes up amongst a couple players and is fouled. See Osborne head to the line. She scored the only points thus far for UMass Boston.
You love to see that by Shania Osborne. That's something that every coach loves to see. You get that rebound, you put one dribble, and you go straight up to the basket really strong. You get a player like Osborne on the line, and she could live there all day.
Osborne has struggled from the free throw line as that one goes in and out. Just under 50%, 14 of 30 for the year. So we'll see Alicia Quinones check in for Joie Grassi, one of the few returners on this Beacons team. We mentioned 13 freshmen, 14 new faces. Beacons with just 4 returners. Osborne looking to go 1 of 2 and gets the friendly bounce. She'll check out. Gianna Williams, another freshman out of Connecticut, will check in for the first time. Freshman out of Cromwell, Connecticut, averages just about 12 minutes a game.
That's something that Coach Baugh definitely loves from her team. You get a player like Osborne, get her a little bit of rest. Gianna Williams can complete the job.
Great backdoor cut and an easy basket for Emily Nicholson, pushing the lead to a game-high 4 for Southern Maine. Vital calling out directions. Back to the near side for Kelsey. Over to Vital, wide open. Matthew, she'll try her hand at it, drains it, and the Beacons are back within 1 at 7-6.
I mentioned this before. Katie Matthew had an excellent second half against Keene State. She came out straight from the half, draining 3 threes back to back to back. So you don't want to leave her wide open if you're the Huskies.
Good turn from Eels, but can't finish over Williams, and the Beacons have a chance to tie or take the lead. Matthew, who just drained the 3, over for Vital and right back. Matthew from the far wing kicks it across for Kelsey. She's 0 for 2 from distance. For Vital, she can hit from that distance too. Strong, long rebound in and out of the hands of Williams, and they're going to stay out of bounds off the Huskies.
And the Huskies know that I guess we all do, when you're in a 2-3 zone, you're looking for the shot. If you're the Beacons, that's a shooter's, that's what they like. That's their mantra. When you get a Beacons team, we got Raven, Kelsey, Lydia Vital, Joie Grassi, Katie Matthew, plenty of other players who can just let it go from the 3-point line. This Beacons have to capitalize on that.
Vital with Curley coming out to screen her. It's Kelsey from the corner trying to find Quinones on the block. She's blocked. Ball's loose, and it's into the hands of Hourigan. In transition, Sherlovitz ahead of the pack, and that one goes off the hands of Curley, who's still scoreless here. 4:43 left in the first quarter, and we'll get our first media timeout. Southern Maine 7, UMass Boston 6. We'll be back after this commercial break.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
And welcome back to the Clark Athletic Center. UMass Boston trails by a point. We're going to see our first substitution of the day for Southern Maine. They'll bring in Miranda Nicely, the senior guard out of Farmington, Maine, attended Mount Blue High School. The Beacons have already used a couple of substitutions and already see Osborne back at the scorer's table after maybe a 35-second break, and Whitney Fulton, one of the Beacons' many freshman guards, is waiting at the scorer's table as well.
Something interesting to look at is we saw that got a steal there from the Huskies, but you see that Megan Dixon hasn't played yet, and we wonder, is she usually you'd sub her in at the early times of the game, and she hasn't come into play yet, so you wonder if Christina Baugh is actually going to play her this game or not.
Well, she hasn't played in 6 games, so maybe a little bit rusty. We'll see what kind of situation she does get in. We were told that we thought she would be back today. second semester has started. It's Quinona, a good drive, scoop shot, and we've got a charge called on the Beacons. Second foul on UMass Boston, first on Quinona. Nice job taking the charge there by what I believe was nicely on the far block. So Fulton and Osborne will replace Williams and Kelsey. The Beacons right now with Osborne at the 5, Quinones at the 4. Looks like it'll be Matthew at the 3, Whitney Fulton at the 2, and Vital will play the point guard, as it's going to be Fulton trying to guard Curley. Curley, a good move to the hoop, and she's able to finish off the glass, taking advantage of the smaller defender. Kelsey goes out. Immediately, Kristen Curley looks for her offense.
Absolutely, and nothing wrong with that. If you're the Huskies and you're Kristen Curley, you got a smaller player like Fulton on you, it's a disadvantage there. You go over on for a field day.
Southern Maine looks like they've extended their zone, maybe a 2-1-2 or a 1-2-2. Vital will go from distance in and out. Osborne a strong rebound and puts it in. Shania has scored 5 of the Beacons' first 8, and UMass Boston is within 1.
If I'm a guard on the Beacons team right now, is Lydia Vital with an awesome steal there. If I'm a guard, I'm letting it go from 3-point. When you got a player like Shania Osborne who is a rebounding machine, she's going to get your rebounds if the ball doesn't go in.
Beacons called for a loose ball foul. It's Quinones over the back. Didn't seem like there was a ton of contact there, but Alicia will head to the bench. 2 quick fouls for the Stoughton native, and she'll be likely out for the rest of the first half as the Beacons do go 12-13 deep. See Jelani Jackson replace Lydia Vital. Jackson, one of several backup point guards the Beacons have available. Freshman out of Brockton, Massachusetts. The Beacons right now with 3 freshmen and 2 seniors on the court, trailing by a point. Curley, once again guarded by Kelsey, right back into the game. Kelsey is going to be called for her first foul. She tried to get the rejection on Nicholson and caught a little bit of the wrist.
You know, I guess it's a bittersweet thing with Quinones getting 2 fouls and her exiting the game. It brings back Raven Kelsey to be guarding Curley, but then you get Kelsey with the foul, and if the Beacons don't be careful here, they might start getting into foul trouble, and that's something you don't want.
Already 4 fouls on UMass Boston. 2:56 to go in the quarter. Southern Maine with just the 1 infraction. Chantel Eels checks in for Kristen Curley, who's been held to just 2 points thus far. Had 17 in the first quarter alone. Scored all 17 for Southern Maine the other day. Nicholson goes 1 of 2, and the lead stretched back to 10-8. Kelsey ahead for Fulton. Osborne is going to be called for the travel. Nice job by Hourigan setting her feet, and Osborne trying to avoid the offensive foul. It's called for taking too many steps.
And it's a shame there because the Beacons are pushing the ball so quickly, and that's something that you love to see from them. Raise the pace of intensity.
Kelsey tips it out of the hands of Nicholson, but unable to steal it away. So it looks like Raven Kelsey will be the Beacons' designated go-to defender against some of the top scorers for Southern Maine today. 20 seconds left on the shot clock, 2:40 to go in the quarter. Southern Maine's led the whole way, but not by more than 4. Eels working on Osborne. Couple of under moves off the glass, well off the mark. Osborne grabs the rebound and draws the foul on nicely. Second foul on Southern Maine. So the Beacons will get a few seconds of respite with Southern Maine not putting a full court press on. First foul on nicely. Southern Maine with just 2 thus far. Kelsey from the near corner has Grassi as an option. Instead it goes up top for Jackson. 15 on the shot clock. Fulton thought about the deep 3. Instead Jackson will take it from the near wing, well off the mark. Grassi couldn't quite grab the rebound, and it ends up in the hands of Hourigan. Beacons a bit unfortunate as Grassi was wide open on the near block, but the rebound just a bit too strong. Nicholson trying from the other side, and Emily Nicholson catches the Beacons sleeping, extends the lead to a game-high 5 with a deep triple.
And 5 points doesn't seem like a lot right now. It's only the first quarter. But if the Beacons keep up playing this way and they're not getting their points on the offensive end and they can't produce defensively either, this game's going to go really quickly in favor of the Huskies.
Fulton unable to connect with Osborne, just a bit too strong on the pass. Osborne mismatch there against Shalovitz. Kelsey calling for the switch, and the Beacons will make it. Kelsey now guarding the point guard. Up top, it's nicely working on Fulton. Couple dribbles over for Nicholson. 10 on the shot clock. Nicholson around Jackson. Kicks it up top. Hourigan drives by Grassi. Osborne comes across, and one opportunity. The Beacons were just a little bit late in getting over, and Southern Maine has a chance to double up the Beacons right here with 1:15 to go in the quarter.
You talk so much about Kristen Curley, but she hasn't been their offensive producer. It's been the role players. It's been players like Swerlovitz, Nicholson, Eels, and just that beautiful play right there. The Beacons are starting to get into foul trouble, and that's something that, like I said before, that can damage them later down the road.
5th foul on UMass Boston. Southern Maine will shoot free throws the rest of the quarter. Just the first on Osborne. Jackson looking to get something going. Goes around a pair of screens, finds Grassi wide open from the top of the key. She's too strong. The Beacons have been ice cold from distance. Just the 1-3. That was Katie Matthew about halfway through the quarter. 15-8 in favor of Southern Maine. 50 seconds to go in the quarter. Eels from the elbow. Gives a bit of a pick to Jackson from behind. Rebound loose. Jackson couldn't handle it. And it's out of bounds off Southern Maine. That call might have benefited the Beacons there. So that looked like Jackson might have touched it last. Beacons will switch out Fulton for Matthew. Looks like Southern Maine will send Howrigan to the bench. Kristen Curley coming back out. Southern Maine right now in a 2-3 zone with one player dropping a little bit further back. He can swing it back to the near side. Grassi all the way across for Matthew. Matthew looks to drive. Backdoor cutter is Kelsey, and the Beacons get an easy 2.
And that's a beautiful play. And I was just about to mention it. The Beacons have to find a way to break this zone that the Huskies are playing. And Katie Matthew and Raven Kelsey, great senior connection right there.
Shot clock turned off. 13 seconds left in the quarter. Southern Maine playing for the final possession. Eels wide open, but the Beacons want her to be there. Looks like she's afraid to take the jumper, and it's out of bounds off Osborne with 5 seconds left in the quarter.
If I'm Eels on that play, though, you got to take advantage of it. Even if you're not so confident in the shot, you got a player that's giving you all that space. Even take a dribble forward, get a little bit closer to the hoop, bank it off the backboard.
Beacons will bring in their rim protector, Sarah St. Cyr, the 6'3" freshman out of Connecticut for the final 5 seconds. Long time here for Nicholson to get it in. Just gets it in time. Eels up top with 3. Down to 2. Has to take it. A deep 3 off the front rim. Bounces in. That's been the kind of quarter the Beacons have faced here, as Southern Maine has scored a lot late in the shot clock, and that'll make it an 18-10 Huskies lead after 1.
And that's just, we just saw Eels down there. She hesitated to take that mid-range shot, and then she comes back behind the arc and just lets it rip. And when that goes in, that's, sad to see the Beacons. She looked a little hesitant there. It looked like she really didn't want to take that three-pointer, and the Beacons backed off a little bit, and then you get a basket going down for 3 points, and now they're down by 8.
We'll take a commercial break along with the teams. Be back with the second quarter. UMass Boston down 8 after 1.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Back to quarter number 2, sorry. Talking about cameras off air and lost my train of thought. The Beacons going from right to left. St. Cyr will stay in the game along with Kelsey, Matthew, Grassi, who's wide open for 3 from the wing. Knocks it down, and the Beacons right back to within 5 after the late 3 from Chantel Eels.
That's a great start of the second quarter. Maybe that'll spark up a little bit of the Beacons offense that we haven't seen in the first quarter.
I think those are Grassi's first points. She leads Curley now 3-2 in the matchup of the top freshman. Eels with a difficult spot. Sherlovitz, a great cut, and it's an easy basket for the Huskies.
And that's just the Beacons sleeping right there. You got a good defense by St. Cyr, but little mishap right there, a little slip up, and Huskies score 2 more points.
Jackson finds Kelsey, immediately met by Nicholson. Kelsey leaves it for St. Cyr, who's not comfortable that far away from the basket. Grassi across for Jackson. One more swing for Matthew, looking for her second 3. She's had the hot hand the last couple games, and the Beacons back within 4.
That's something you love to see from Katie Matthew, one of the senior leaders on this team. And we haven't seen a lot of Lydia Vital back on this court, so Katie Matthew taking that leadership responsibility.
Vital and Gianna Williams both at the scorer's table. UMass Boston's used quite a few more players than Southern Maine has thus far. Eels drives on St. Cyrin, fouled as well as blocked, and we'll see Chantel Eels head to the line. Talk about Katie Matthew getting hot. Last 5 games, Matthews hit double digits in 4 of 5, just under 10 points per game, shooting just under 50% and 50% from 3. It's a great sign for a senior who started off the year pretty cold.
Yeah, and she's one of the role players on this team. We talk a lot about Joie Grassi hitting from downtown, and then you get players like Matthew, who you don't hear a lot about her hitting from three-point range, but when she gets her hot hand, there's no stopping her.
Eels knocks down the first, a 50% free throw shooter on the season. She attended Leavitt High School, where she was the conference player of the year. Originally out of Turner, Maine. Tallest player on this Southern Maine roster at 5'11". Beacons have 4 players listed at 6 foot or taller. 22-16 Southern Maine. Still 8:30 left in half number 1. Kelsey, a good drive, leaves it off for Williams. Triple team. Tried to get it over for Grassi. Kelsey catches it on a couple bounces. Right back for Williams in the easy lay-in. Wasn't pretty, but it worked.
Yeah, now oftentimes you don't need pretty for it to work. As long as you get 2 points out of a play, it doesn't matter. I'm sure Coach Baugh is happy with that.
See if the Beacons can get a defensive stop. Right now, it's been anything you can do, I can do better from Southern Maine here in the first 12 minutes. Their offense has looked quite good. Curley being badgered by Kelsey. Williams tried to get the block on Eels, gets it back. No foul there. A little bit surprising as the Beacons had a little bit of contact going on there against Chantel Eels. Matthew looks to drive baseline, tried to get it across for Grassi, and it's deflected out of bounds off Howergate.
And I see what the Huskies are trying to do here with the Beacons is they're trying to get the ball down low. They're trying to get the Beacons post players in a little bit of foul trouble, and Eels is their go-to big, tallest one on the team, like you said, Seth, to get the Beacons in foul trouble. You're either going to get a foul or a basket out of it.
Vital from the corner needs to get it in, and she'll find Williams. Right back for Vital with 20 on the shot clock, 7:50 to go in the quarter. Kelsey for Matthew already has 2 threes, guarded by Curley. Matthew tried to get it over to Kelsey, just out of the hands there of Nicholson. Williams with 7. Now it's Matthew up top for Vital. What can the senior point guard do? Vital hard to the rim, throws it up, doesn't catch rim. Caught rim off the hands of Grassi, but ends up in the hands of Sherlovitz. 2v2 they go. Sherlovitz working on the Beacons freshman big, and from the corner, it's a 3-and-1. Kristen Curley draws contact on Matthew coming over late, and it's a 7-point game, potentially 8. Kristen Curley hits her first 3 of the day.
And I'm sure Katie Matthews shaking her head right now. I don't think she even meant to run into her, and that's just an accidental foul right there. But Kristen Curley, doing what she does best, producing for the Huskies. I guess they're not calling it a foul. Curley not shooting any foul shots. The referee here explaining to Coach Baugh exactly what the decision was. Huskies ball on the sideline.
Southern Maine with the ball. Shot goes well off the mark by Howergate, and then it's tipped wide by Vital. Vital running 1v1 back there with one of the Southern Maine players. It's Dixon back into the game for the first time. That was Nicholson with a nice defensive play. Beacons trail by 7 with 7 minutes left in the quarter. Dixon's first appearance since the last game of 2017. Beacons win over MIT. Grassi in the lane, the floater well off the mark. Williams grabs the rebound, stripped of it going up, no call. Nicholson in transition, drives, kicks it off. Wide open, 2 that's in and out of the hands of Morgan Eliason, and it's Dixon with the rebound. Megan Dixon provides a little bit of offense, but especially a 3-point shooter and a player who can take it to the hoop, something the Beacons missed, especially in their loss against UMass Dartmouth. Vital, wide open Matthew. Can she hit 3? No, can't quite hit her third 3. Grassi drew contact there, no call. And it's Vital stripping away the offensive rebound, but gives it right back for Nicholson. Vital tips it away again to the floor, and we've got a stoppage and a jump ball. Possession arrow to Southern Maine.
That's just great hustle play by Lydia Vital. She doesn't get her shot off, gets her own rebound, comes back, gets a steal. That's what you love to see, and she's the example for the freshman point guards out there, showing off that hustle that the Beacons need.
Shania Osborne back onto the floor. She'll replace Gianna Williams. Our officials today, John Williams, Jesse Fanuli, and Ian Carey. And I keep mentioning them mostly because we get such erratic officiating here at the Clark and pretty much across D3. We've seen a lot of soft contact not be called today that was called Saturday, that was probably called last Wednesday, and it's just a little bit difficult from a broadcasting perspective to see where they're going to go. That's an obvious one. Dixon trips up Miranda nicely. Third foul on the Beacons here in the quarter with 5:54 to go. Southern Maine, who was called for just 2 fouls in the first quarter, does not have one yet here in quarter 2.
That's the difference that you see in the Beacons here, and I'm sure that that's going to show up on the stat sheets later. Is Southern Maine not a very big fouling team, and the Beacons haven't been able to keep up par with that.
Nicely drives on Dixon, tapped off of nicely by Vital. Her hands have been phenomenal defensively today.
That's just what she does, you know. She's small, she's quick, and she knows that. And she knows that she can get into those plays. She can help out her bigs by providing that extra pressure on the post players.
Vital, an all-defensive team member a year ago at Keene State before transferring to UMass Boston. Dixon from the corner, still looking for her first points of 2018. Across for Matthew, drives baseline, gets hung up. Fortunate to get the ball out for Vital. Hard drive, draws contact, and it's going to be a charge. Lydia Vital called for knocking down Chantal Eels. We'll see Jelani Jackson head to the scorer's table alongside Tajay Mazik. Vital and Dixon head to the bench, and the Beacons just have not been able to figure things out offensively.
How do you get a 5'1" player being called for a charge on a player who's 5'11"?
Well, it's just about the contact. We saw it last week at UMass Dartmouth on a similar play, and it's just one of those things where you don't expect to see it, but occasionally gets called. Sherlovitz from the free throw line. Beautiful pull-up. And the lead extended to 9. That's as large as it's been today for Southern Maine. They've led the whole way. Remember, UMass Boston has never won here at home against Southern Maine. They trail to 69-3 all time. Grassi trying to find Osborne, forced the pass, and Eels easily able to collect. Into the front court. Ball swung to the near side for Nicely. Eels wants it, working on Osborne. We've seen this battle quite a few times, and Eels called for the travel.
If you're UMass Boston right now, you need to settle down. They're trying to force the ball a little bit too much, as we'll see a timeout here, but the Beacons are trying to force the ball a lot, and they don't need that. They need to wear the shot clock down a little bit, try to get the Huskies 2-3 zone to break down, and then they'll find their way to the basket.
Beacons haven't faced a lot of zone this season. We'll see if they can start to break it down after this media timeout. 4:44 to go in the half. The Beacons trail by 9.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of those moments.
4:44 to go in quarter number 2. The Beacons have trailed the whole way. This 9-point deficit tied for their largest of the game. Beacons will send out Jelani Jackson, Joie Grassi, Tajay Mazik, Shania Osborne, 4 freshmen, alongside Katie Matthews. Had the hot hand, hit, I believe, the Beacons' only 2 threes. Maybe Grassi has one as well, as Matthew passes up the 3. Jackson over for Mazik. She can score. A little bit of scoring spark off the bench. There's a great pass from Mazik. Shania Osborne's been the easy option all game, and she brings the Beacons back within 7 after an easy lay-in.
I said it right before the break. Be patient. You'll find a way to the basket.
All the way across for Sherlovitz. Up top for Nicely. The Beacons look like they're in a zone right now. Potentially a little bit of a 2-3 or just a soft man. Kicked across. Wide open. Nicely there. Beacons double team Eels, and we've got an out-of-bounds call there. It was actually Morgan Eliason falling to the hardwood. And we'll see Southern Maine make a pair of substitutions. Curley and Nicholson, a pair of starters, check back in for Eliason and Nicely, 2 bench players. Southern Maine has used all 5 available players off the bench, including a short stint for Sebi Deary Day Raps, who we were told really wouldn't see much time unless it was a blowout. Matthew up top for Jackson, across looking for Grassi, but her pass was deflected away into the hands of the Huskies. Eels down low, and it's tapped into the hands of Osborne. Ahead for Jackson. Meekins looking to push. Matthew one-on-one will slow it down. Up top for Jackson. The Meekins have struggled from distance today. Matthew for Osborne. Double team. Still working with it, and she's called for the travel.
And, you know, you hate to see it from Osborne, but that's a good play by the Beacons there. They're pushing the ball. They're, you know, raising the intensity of the game. They're playing a little bit of the 2-3 zone, giving the Huskies a little, you know, taste their own medicine, if you say. And, you know, the intensity's up. They got 3 minutes left in this half, and in this quarter, I should say, and they're trying to get into the second half on the right foot.
Well, the Beacons are just trying to find some sort of offense outside of Osborne and Katie Matthews' threes. That's really been their best source of offense thus far. Shilovitz picks it up over for Nicholson, a 3 over 2 players, well off the mark. Ball falls into the hands of Grassi. Under 3 to go, and the Beacons will send 2 of their seniors back to the scorer's table. Kelsey and Vital looking to check back in. Grassi double team. Swings it for Matthew. Matthew not looking for her own shot. Jackson will take one from the near wing, well off the mark. Grassi the rebound, and it falls out of her hands into the hands of Curley.
If I'm Joie Grassi over there, you get that ball in the post, and you got to work your defender on that. You can't just get the ball in the post and dish it back out. Although Jelani Jackson was open, try to get in the post, try to work out a foul.
Eels with Osborne on her. Mazik, a good job of getting in front of Curley. Curley drives baseline up and under, off the bottom of the basket, and of course it falls into the hands of the Huskies. That seemed to be the Beacons' luck today. An easy bucket for Kimberly Hourigan, who followed up the missed shot. 2:09 to go. Can the Beacons get this back to within a 1 or 2 possession game before halftime? Matthews going to try her hand, knocks down another one. She's got 3 in the half, and that'll force a Southern Maine timeout. Samantha Allen not happy. Gigi, I was just saying that it seems like the Beacons have 2 options offensively. Unfortunately, Matthew continues to have the hot hand, knocks down her 3rd 3 of the game. Talking about a player who was maybe averaging 3 points per game for a semester. It's good to see her get her offensive game going.
And it comes with time, you know. She's had her slow start to the season. She's building it up. We're 2/3 through her senior season. So she's trying to pick it up a little bit, you know, like I said, taking her senior role in the team. But the thing is for the Beacons, if you only have 2 players producing right now, and those being Osborne and Katie Matthew, and you got to look for some other people. You got to look for, you know, the Joie Grassi to get a little hot. Raven Kelsey doing an amazing job on the defensive end. Needs to start producing a little bit more on the offensive end, because sooner or later, having only 2 players producing your offense isn't going to get you that far.
Beacons will send Osborne to the bench. It's going to be Kelsey, Vital, Grassi, Matthew, and Mazik. The Beacons going small right now with Grassi at the 5. See how this works out as Grassi will face off with Eels. Tapped out of bounds off UMass Boston.
I think what UMass Boston's trying to do here by going small is working that 2-3 zone, you know, trying to get the ball away from Joie Grassi as much as possible.
Baseline drive from Hourigan, trying to find Curley. It's thrown out of bounds. The other thing for UMass Boston is they have a little bit more positional versatility right now with this group of 5. Grassi can guard at least the 3 and the 4, if not the 2 as well, whereas Osborne and St. Cyr a little bit more contained to only guarding bigs. Vital tries to get a pair of picks. They were looking to open Grassi up top. Grassi had Matthew wide open back door. Kicks up top for Kelsey. Still looking to get her offensive game going. Drives to the left hand. Back for Matthew. Off glass. Beacons back within 4 with 1:20 to go.
Now, I'll retract my statement of saying Raven Kelsey hasn't done her job on the offensive end. She may not show up on the scoring sheet, but she's produced some very nice assists over there for Katie Matthew.
The Beacons are patient offensively. They seem to be getting good shots. Eels working on Grassi. Goes up well short, and a good box out from Grassi as the rebound falls to Mazik. Mazik will man the point to start. Across for Kelsey. Has a wide open Matthew. Nice job by Eels to close her out. Kicks across for Mazik at deep 2. It's short. And Gigi, that was a funny one. It looked like the pass was originally intended for Vital.
Yeah, and Tajay Mazik intercepted it and thought she'd get the shot, and you'd love to see a rebound there from the Beacons.
Curley throws up an awkward one-footed shot. The Beacons right now with about an 8-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Appears as if they're going to slow it down and try to kill off the majority of this clock. Matthew back for Vital for Mazik on the far side, and now Kelsey working the baseline. 13 on the shot clock. She'll take it deep. 2, knocks it down, and the Beacons are back within 2. Closest they've been in 5 minutes.
I'm wondering if she heard me when I said after the break over there, because she's been on fire ever since she came into the game.
I don't think Raven's that kind of spiteful player. Sherlovitz leaves it for Eels. Hit a 3 to end the first. Goes up with it, knocked away. Kelsey with 2. Does she have enough time? Loses the dribble, throws it up. It'll count. She's short. But nonetheless, the Beacons, who were down 27-18, closed the half on a 9-2 run. They're within 2 to end the first half. It's got to feel good if you're Christina Ball's squad.
And you saw her right there. She gave Joie Grassi a very big high five, getting that block on Eels, which would have been a momentum changer. The Beacons only down 2 here at the half. And, Coach Bra is going to talk to her team a little bit, try to figure out what they need to fix, little nooks and crannies here and there. But great job in the second quarter by the Beacons to get back into this game. We're
going to take a commercial break, then we'll head down low and have a conversation with Christina Ball. Hear her thoughts after this first quarter.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The fuck?
Most about how disciplined they are. And I thought my seniors started to take over, and started to play IQ basketball and find each other and cut without the ball and make plays. And that's what they're supposed to do every night when we play a little timid because of our youth. So yeah, we need a couple more people to get going, and I think we will. Big thing at the end of the first quarter was, hey, our shot's coming. Our shot's coming. We got tons of shooters. So I thought I was losing them, but we came back. Well, we're all right now.
How do you think your team's adjusted to the 2-3? I know you haven't seen a ton of it this year, and it's difficult when you're seeing a different look. But in terms of maybe being a bit more patient and getting some of those good passes.
We did not adjust well in the beginning. I wasn't sure, tying records of three-pointers. I wasn't sure I was going to see zone. So to see zone, you just never know, man. That's why we coach the game. But we did make some adjustments, and the ball's got to touch the paint more to open up the perimeter as well to get them into foul trouble.
Finally, defensively, it seems like you're doing a good job limiting them, and then late in the shot clock, they've scored quite a few points. Is that just them winning some of those hustle plays, or is that making some adjustments on your end as well?
That's a loaded question, Seth. Just got to lock in, You can't be great for 25 seconds and then lose it in the last 5. So rotations have to be faster. We got to keep our ball line because every time we've had good rotation, we've contested or got a rebound, and then we can play our game, which is transition.
Thanks so much for your time, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Beacons were down by as many as 9, cut it to 2 at the half, trying for a historic win here at the Clark. They've never beaten Southern Maine here in Boston. We'll head back up top and take a look at behind the Beacon, why this team is off to such a hot start.
UMass Boston women's basketball is off to their best start in program history. The Beacons are 13-1 with a program record 12 straight wins. And what makes their success all that more surprising? The Beacons only have 3 returners and 14 new faces. Hi, and welcome back to Behind the Beacon. I'm your new host, Gigi Braga. This week, we caught up with head coach Christina Baugh and a few members of the team to diagnose their big turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we brought in a couple pieces that have shown to learn how to play hard at this level, but the biggest thing was the character of our women's basketball team and how we represented ourselves in the classroom as well as in our community. And I think all of that is transpiring to how we represent UMass Boston women's basketball on the floor. In that first quarter of Coast Guard, I knew that it was going to be special. We hadn't practiced like that, so to come out and see us really, I guess our gamers showed up that game. It was kind of like, oh, well, you know, this could be really, really special if we continue to learn what it means to play hard at this level, being so young. And really my seniors have set the tone, whether it's the classroom, managing my locker room, and getting in extra to show them, you know, what it is to be a Beacon.
I think for me and Katie, we just remember how last year felt and things that we didn't like and then things that we did like. So we try to focus on the things that we didn't like and kind of give them our perspective without bringing them to last year, but kind of teaching them what we want and what we're going to need in order to be successful this year.
Honestly, like just the way that we carry ourselves in like the first like probably 3 weeks of just like practice, it just felt different, you know, and you could just tell that people were dedicated to actually be here, and that's a definite change for this program. So I think in just feeling that in the first few weeks, that definitely I knew that it was gonna be different. Like they've adjusted, especially like Joie and Megan, they've both been like just, you know, were put in the game and just adjusted to the speed as soon as it happened. And I think seeing like being a freshman and seeing other freshmen do that just like gives every other freshman hope that they can do the same thing.
They've been very helpful on and off the court, whether it comes to school or telling us how to like do something on the court. So a lot of us have played together, and we have known each other for a while, so it's helpful having friends and people that we can go to with anything.
I think it's just buying in, you know, that second half. Our third quarter's probably been our best quarter, and just being willing to make the adjustment in game and listen to what coach is saying, and then just having each other's back flying around and having some keywords that we focus on, and just having echoes on the bench and on the floor.
We've made really good adjustments during timeouts with myself and my staff, and the kids have really bought in. Obviously winning helps that, but we make a couple small adjustments defensively, and when we lock in and do it, I think they end up winning games for us.
I think you just continue to trust coach, and you just buy into the process, and you think of the bigger goal. You know, there's so many people every night. There's going to be somebody's night, and when you think of the bigger picture, then you don't really worry about yourself too much.
Every night a different kid is stepping up and showing the world what she can do, and showing our program, you know, how valuable she is. And that could be the last kid on the bench and how much she cheers, or a new freshman getting a look for 8 to 10 minutes and showing some numbers. So I think that makes us dangerous, that most people can only go 8, and I think we have a bench that we can go 12 to 13 kids.
Being able to not just have like 7 people, like literally have 7 people that could even play in practice, so you have to play against coaches or bring other people in, and actually having like subs, and we can actually play 5-on-5 and get reps in like actual game speed. That is a huge difference, especially for like to be able to build our bench as well. It's not just game day that people can get experience; they can get experience in practice as well.
Women's basketball will resume play on Saturday, January 13th, as they travel to Western Connecticut State University at 1 p.m. The Beacons will play 10 of their final 11 games against conference foes, including 2 meetings with in-state rivals UMass Dartmouth. I'm your host, Gigi Braga. Thanks for watching.
And welcome back to the Clark. At halftime, it's Southern Maine 29, UMass Boston 27. But Gigi, the way it ended up with UMass Boston outscoring Southern Maine 17-11 that second quarter, it feels like the Beacons are not only right back in this game, but have the momentum going into the break because of that late run.
They were red hot in that second quarter. They were getting their shots off. They were being patient, wearing down the shot clock. looking to get open shots in the paint and also on the perimeter. And they're doing their job defensively, which is what they, failed to do a little bit in the first quarter, which is why Southern Maine outscored them there. But like Coach Boss said, they're getting back into it. They haven't really seen much zone in their previous games that they played, and they weren't really expecting to see it today. So a little curveballs that the Huskies threw at the Beacons today here, but I'm sure that at halftime, Coach Boss is going to address that to our team. They're going to figure out a way on how to break that 2-3 zone, and then we'll see what happens in the second half.
Take a look at the team statistics. You talked about getting hot in that second quarter. The Beacons shooting 36.7% from the field, but they shot 26% in the first quarter, 46% in the second quarter, so split the difference. For Southern Maine, they're shooting 42%, 53% in the first quarter, down to 30% in the second. So the tide's turning a little bit. A big part of it, though, UMass Boston 4 of 14 from distance, Southern Maine 4 of 6. We talked about Southern Maine's perimeter defense. The other thing, the rebounds, where they should be if you're a Beacons fan. UMass Boston doing a nice job on the boards. 23 rebounds, including 10 offensive.
And it doesn't seem like a lot, at least from my standpoint. It seems like the Beacons haven't done that much rebounding. I guess that those rebounds there were speaking defensively, because the Beacons have got a lot of defensive rebounds. The Huskies don't really crash the boards on their offensive end, but you'd love to see that switch a little bit. You want to see the Beacons rebounding the ball offensively, give their guards, and Shania Osborne does a tremendous job of this. Your guards shoot the ball from three-point land, and if it doesn't fall down, you got a girl like Shania Osborne who can just pick up that rebound, throw it right back into net.
Well, the issue is 10 offensive rebounds have led to 3 second chance points. Southern Maine with 2 on 3 offensive rebounds. That's a stat that needs to be better if you're a Beacons fan. Take a look at the halftime leaders. A couple names that have stood out. Katie Matthew has been red hot, 11 points on 3 of 4 shooting from distance. On the other side, Kimberly Howergan, 7 points, 4 rebounds in 17 minutes. Howergan's not one of the team's top scorers. The junior from Fairfield, Vermont, averaging just 5.8 points, so already above her season high. The other player who's really stood out for UMass Boston, Shania Osborne, 7 points, 5 rebounds. It's been a balanced attack. We talked about Kristen Curley versus Joie Grassi. Neither player has really gone off. Curley's got 5 points. On the other side, Joie Grassi has 3 points and 5 rebounds, so neither player has necessarily excelled to their standards.
Well, you talked about this earlier. Before the game started, Seth, and the role players and what they're going to have to do in this game. And the Huskies have executed that perfectly. I know those at home can't really see this, but on the stat sheet, you got players in Southern Maine. You have their 5 players, and their starting 5 are all even out across the board. You got Howergan with 7, Curley with 5, Nicholson, Srilovitz both with 6, and Eels with 5. And that's what you like to see. You like to see that little balance throughout your entire lineup if you're the Huskies. Now, if you're the Beacons, you got Katie Matthew with 11 points and Shania Osborne with 7. But when you're a red-hot player and your shooter like Joie Grassi only has 3 points, and then Raven Kelsey only has 4, and no one else on the team really has any more points, Gianna Williams with 2, that's something that you hate to see. And if you're Coach Ball, you gotta harp on that on your team, and you gotta look for those open shots, and you gotta start taking more shots and getting more attempts, because with those will come rebounds and so on and so forth. And that's how you're gonna get your offense generated a little bit more.
Right now, we'll take a look at a couple highlights. We did have some technical difficulties back in the first quarter, so we don't have a ton to bring to you today. But we'll take a look at a couple, and realistically, it's kind of showing a little bit of the best of both of these sides in terms of what they've been able to do offensively, as it starts with Southern Maine. Southern Maine with a nice job of creating a little bit of space and then being able to get an N1. That was a nice drive there by what I believe was Howergan. As we continue on, the Beacons will have a couple in a row. Swinging it across, and it's the backdoor cut for Raven Kelsey. Nice job from the 2 seniors to connect. Now it's one of Matthew's 3 threes. And then finally, it's the beautiful play by Kristen Curley just ahead of Matthew closing out. And I thought it was an N1. Eventually, they didn't give her the free throw attempt, so it was a little odd on what happened there, but still, that was really Curley's biggest exclamation point. I think it was her only basket of the second quarter, as the Beacons have kept her very quiet after a 36-point outburst on Saturday.
And yeah, I thought that was an N1 too from Curley, and I'm pretty sure Katie Matthew thought the same exact thing. And all of a sudden, we see the ball getting inbounded from the sideline over there. So no call there from the refs, which you like to see. They've been a little inconsistent here and there, but it's something that happens in every basketball game, something that we can't control, and as players, they can't control that either. But if you're the Beacons in this second half here, you kind of want to keep doing the same thing that you've been doing on Curley. The thing that you don't want to do is allow her to go off for 20 points or 15 points in this second half here. You've done a great job of containing her. Now you just got to find a way to contain the rest of their team. And with doing that, get a win.
Take a moment real quick to bring you the LEC scoreboard. A couple interesting scores. Eastern Connecticut State, big 15-point lead on Western at the half. Eastern came in at 4-3 in conference play. Western at 3-4. UMass Dartmouth having no problems with Rhode Island College at home, up by 18 at the break. And Keene State winless thus far in conference play, up by 10 over Plymouth State. Keene State has the only team they haven't played is Plymouth State, so potentially the first win for the defending LEC tournament champions. And while we've got one last second here during the halftime, we'll bring you a look ahead for UMass Boston. So the Beacons will go back on the road after a mini homestand. They're at Rhode Island College Saturday, earned a win over the Anchorman back in December. Their last non-conference game will be February 1st. That'll be here at home. And then they'll travel to Eastern Connecticut State on the 3rd of February. So UMass Boston with a couple road games upcoming. And those are two of their final 3 road games. Their last one will be on the 14th of February against Southern Maine. Beacons going from right to left, a chance to potentially tie or take the lead. It's Grassi, Vital, Kelsey, Osborne, and Matthews. Same starting 5 for the Beacons. Sherlovitz, Eels, Hourigan, Nicholson, and Curley for Southern Maine. 7 on the shot clock. Kelsey goes to work, drives, kicks, wide open. Vital near wing, and she's too strong. Grassi the rebound, puts it up, can't finish, but draws the foul, and the Beacons will head to the free throw line early here with a chance to tie it.
And if you tuned in for the halftime show and you went down and talked to Coach Bosch, he said that the ball needs to get to the paint in order for it to be dished out, and that's exactly what Raven Kelsey did there.
It's a rare foul on Southern Maine as Hourigan is charged with her first. Grassi off the mark. Southern Maine in that first half was charged with just 2 fouls, 1 in each quarter. The Beacons with 9. As Grassi misses both ends. She's a terrific shooter, but her free throw shooting has been getting a little bit worse as the season has gone along. Came into this one at 69.3%. She's now 52 of 77 on the year. Eels can hit from there. We saw it already, but she tries to go down low for Hourigan, and the taller Grassi tips it away and grabs the interception. Grassi a chance to redeem herself from 3. It's short, and a nice rebound from Kristen Curley. But it goes out of bounds. What a play by Katie Matthew. Just got a hand in there, and the Beacons will get an extra possession a minute into the 3rd quarter.
I don't even know if Katie Matthew got a hand in there. I think she was just waiting around there. She definitely didn't want to, get a hand check and a foul there, and just Curley lost control of the ball.
Maybe didn't get a hand on the ball, but certainly bothered the player as got a charge call against Osborne, who tried to barrel through Hourigan, who's the worst for wear. Osborne went down as well. That's Shania's second foul. Second Beacon to have 2. Alicia Quinones was charged with a pair of fouls as well. And a big problem for the Beacons is they now have 10 personal fouls against them. I'm going to say 3 or 4 have been on the offensive end. Quinones, Osborne, and Vital all have been charged with charge calls here in the opening 21-plus minutes. Those are empty possessions for the Beacons. Curley double team. Finds Eels, who is reluctant to shoot. Drives, and a much easier bucket there for the first points of the second half.
She got an open lane to the basket there. She beat Shania Osborne, but then Joie Grassi doesn't step in to be that help, and that's exactly what she has to do to limit Eels.
Kelsey from in front of her own bench. The long rebound finds Eels. Eels ahead for Sherlovitz. The Beacons have 3 players out in front. Curley will avoid contact and finish over Vital. Just like that, the lead stretches back out to 6.
And I think Shania Osborne's a little tired here. You saw her running up and down the court a little bit. Maybe Coach Bod needs to give her a break for a little bit, get her to, recompose after that foul.
Well, she has played about 14, close to 15 minutes now. Had played just 26 the last 2 games. Kelsey from the corner this time knocks it down, and the Beacons are within 3 for UMass Boston. Their 5th 3 of the game, and only their 2nd from someone not named Katie Matthew.
And Hourigan, that's just a lapse on her. She gave Raven Kelsey a little too much space there.
Sherlovitz around the screen from Eels, still going with it, loses possession, and she's going to be called for the travel before that circus shot was thrown up.
See what she was trying to do there. She was trying to draw a foul over there from Lydia Vital, see if she could get something there, maybe a shooting foul just by her throwing the ball up.
It's a fun battle between Vital, who's one of the smallest players in the conference at 5'1", out of Cambridge, Mass., and Sherlovitz, the junior out of Montreal, Quebec, who's listed at 5'6". The Beacons catch a break there as the ball goes through Osborne's hands, off of Nicholson and out of bounds. Stay with the Beacons with 19 on the shot clock. Southern Maine still in this 2-3 defense they've been using all game long. Kelsey finds Grassi the long option. The Beacons will set up their offense. They've trailed the entire way. Looking for a potential tie here. Osborne catches it. Triple team. Finishes nonetheless as Chantel Eels got knocked to the ground.
And that's what the size of Shania Osborne does for her. She's tall, she is strong, and when she goes to the hoop, it's very hard to stop her.
How about this for a wild stat? Shania Osborne is 13 of her last 13 as Kelsey can't quite finish or can't quite grab it. Osborne, who started the year on the IR, for lack of a better term, after suffering a knee injury last year at Fairfield Ward High School, came back slowly, but is shooting over 83% on the season in limited minutes. Up top for Sherlovitz. Over for Hourigan, who finds Eels on the block with 10. Eels nearly went up and down. Instead finds Curley, who drains it. And the Beacons bench not happy with that. Eels certainly lifted the foot, but maybe kept the pivot just enough. And it's a 35-32 Southern Maine lead.
And you see Coach Ball over there giving the referee her 2 cents about that.
Matthew rims it in and out there. The Beacons tried to force the turnover. UMass Boston just can't quite seem to find a way to tie or take the lead. They've been close a couple times. Grassi went for the steal. Drive from Hourigan over Osborne and finishes. Nice move from Kimberly Hourigan. Had 7 in the first half. She's well above her season average. Kelsey gets around a couple players, gets all the way to the rim, and finishes with the left hand.
Raven Kelsey, a one-man show on that play, huh? Just taking the ball straight to the rim, and honestly, if you don't have anyone open, why not just do it yourself?
Well, Kelsey nearly lost the ball on several dribbles, but somehow able to handle it the whole way. Matthew gets a hand on that pass intended for Nicholson. 15 on the shot clock. Sherlovitz wide open for 3, drains it. It's a bit too much space between her and Grassi. Southern Maine pushes the lead out to 7. Beacons have been within 1, 2, or 3 a couple times, but also fell behind by as many as 9 here at home. Vital fakes the pass over for Kelsey. Kelsey working on Eels with Osborne currently being guarded by Hourigan. Kelsey tried to save it, and it's going to be a foul on Vital reaching out for it. Sherlovitz wins the battle and draws the foul on Lydia Vital.
I don't really know if I'd call that a foul. She was just going straight for the ball there. Happened to have gotten in between, I believe it was Hourigan, whoever's ankles it was, and just went down. But Raven Kelsey maybe trying to do a little too much there on that corner, trying to get the juke out here and there, and ends up in possession of the Huskies.
Osborne off for the Beacons. Gianna Williams back in. Emily Nicholson takes a seat for the Huskies with Miranda nicely checking back in. Hourigan over for Curley, well away from the basket, and she dribbles it right in to Matthew. Matthew stops right at the half-court line, ahead for Vital. The right-handed lay-in, can't finish. Grassi the rebound, draws the foul, and she'll head to the line as Hourigan, a smart foul there to avoid the easy 2.
Let's just, if we can get that on replay, like Katie Matthews, that's just a smart play by Katie Matthews. She knew she didn't have the speed to beat the Huskies offense on that play. She stopped short. Lydia Vital is one of the fastest players in the conference, running up to up the court, and Katie Matthews, such a smart play by the veteran.
And a smart play potentially by Hourigan to foul Grassi there, who is 0 for 2 today from the free throw line, a 69% shooter. We'll see if the Beacons can come away with any points after this media timeout. We'll also have that replay for you. UMass Boston still trailing. It's a 7-point game with 4:55 left in the third.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
while we've got a moment. We'll take a look at that replay, and Gigi, I 100% agree. First off, Curley kind of dribbled it right into Matthew, but Matthew, a smart play, and the Beacons unfortunate to already not have 2 points on the board.
And you see her here, she gets the ball and she just stops right there. She knows she's going to be double teamed. Lydia Vital running up and down the court. She may not have gotten the layup, but Joie Grassi, great job following up, getting the rebound, and we'll see if she can produce 2 more points for the Beacons here.
Beacons are 1 of 4 from the free throw line, limited attempts. We'll see if they can get something going right here. Grassi too strong on the first. She's missed 3 free throws all in the second half. And right now, Joey could just use a little bit of a confidence boost. Beacons trail by 7, and their leading scorer struggling from the free throw line. 0 for 2, gets her own rebound, and she's fouled. The referee took a while there, deciding between an out-of-bounds call on Southern Maine and a free throw. And Joie Grassi will get 2 more chances. So didn't get it done, but at least has a chance to redeem herself once again here after the 3rd foul on Howergan. So that's actually a benefit for the Beacons. 2 fouls on Howergan here in the last 3 or 4 seconds of gameplay.
And all she really did there was hurt herself statistically speaking, but now she drains her first one and trying to get that second one. And like you said, Seth, it's a little bit of confidence at this point if I'm Joie Grassi. You know, you haven't been producing that much offense like you did in the first half of the season, but, you know, this is the kind of game that you want to see her producing. You want to see her being one of those leading freshmen again.
Well, she knocks down both on her 3rd chance, and the Beacons back within 5. And Howergan, first player with 3 fouls. The Beacons go into some full court pressure. Nicholson ahead for Sherlovitz, finds Eels, 2-on-1 chance. Matthew, the lone player, back, and she slows it down enough to avoid the easy bucket. Lydia Vital is going to be called for the hand check there, trying to slow down Nicholson. And that one should be the 3rd on Lydia Vital, so 3 quick fouls on 2 players here. And we'll see Jelani Jackson check in for Vital. Southern Maine is yet to go to the bench for Howergan, their leading scorer thus far tonight. And in fact, they did use that little break to bring in Miranda Nicely for Howergan. It's Nicely with it here for Eels, and she gets some space on Kelsey, puts it in just over the rim, the lead back to 7 with 4:23 left in the 3rd.
From the Beacons, your problem right now is not on the defensive end. It's not on the offensive end, it's on the defensive end, because as you see there, Joie Grassi hitting a 3 and getting her team back in it, but the Beacons can't seem to stop the Huskies' offense, and you can't play basket for basket at this point.
Eels ahead of the pack. Grassi couldn't get the rejection, and it pushed the lead back to 6. In the last 2 possessions, Grassi has 5 points. She had 3 points in the first half alone. Can she get hot? Jackson for Kelsey. Kelsey thought about it. Williams was alone on the block. Grassi looking for help. Will go over for Matthew with 13. Handoff trying to get it back for Grassi, stolen away by who else? It's Sherlovitz. Sherlovitz has Eels out ahead, finds her. Eels somehow avoids picking up the pivot foot. It's out of bounds off the Beacons. That was very close for Chantel Eels, who nearly traveled.
I really thought you did.
That's why I said nearly, because I was feeling the same thing.
That was a great block there by Gianna Williams as well. Even though the ball went out on her, she, denied Eels from getting those 2 easy points.
Beacons trailing by 6. They have not led in this one, trying for a historic win in a battle of second-place teams. Both sides could desperately use this win. Curley thought about it. Wide open 3 as both Beacons left her, and UMass Boston fortunate. The red-hot Curley misses that one. Kelsey makes the catch, dribbles it off her own foot. Jackson picks up the loose ball. Wide open, Matthew hit 3 in the first half. That one rims in, and the Beacons are within 3 at 45-42.
Katie Matthew never failing to amuse there. Just great basketball from her today.
Matthew 4 of 5 from distance. Curley, he pulls up and is fouled by Williams, who got ball, but a little bit of the hand as well. And we'll see Kristen Curley head to the free throw line with a chance to extend this 3-point lead.
That's something that, the height on Curley is such an advantage for her. When you got Gianna Williams, 5'10", matches up identically to Curley, but when she gets up on a jumper and Gianna leaves her feet, there's not much the refs can do there but call for a foul.
Kristen Curley with a very odd free throw shooting motion. It's as if she's shooting almost a line drive free throw. pretty good shooter overall. One of the top shooters from the field and three-point line in the conference, a 76.2% free throw shooter overall, 33 of 43 now. Too strong on the second one, but Eels and Grassi get tangled up. The possession arrow will stay with Southern Maine. And have to give credit to Kristen Curley's brother, Kyle Curley, member of the men's soccer team and tennis team. He made the ride down to Boston to support his younger sisters. That one's thrown into the backcourt. They're going to say that didn't touch the hand of Eels in the front court. Otherwise, that would have been a backcourt violation, much to the bemusement of Christina Ball. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Kicked over for Nicely. Southern Maine trying to hold on to this lead and maybe potentially extend it. Nicholson dribbling, kicks it over the near side for Sherlovitz, working on Fulton. Down to 6 on the shot clock. Down low for Curley, and we've got an offensive foul. The swing move on Curley. Jelani Jackson was doing everything she could to front her.
And you see there the Huskies. That's a smart play, though. When you got a small guard like Jelani Jackson on Kristen Curley, who does have the height advantage. You saw her there left and right, moving from post to post. She was trying to get up in that post-up situation.
Both teams now with 4 fouls, so we could see free throws here. Osborne trying to avoid the travel and somehow just throws it up off glass. Beacons are within 2, and we're going to see a stoppage. Christina Ball was off the bench asking for something. Thought she was asking for a timeout. Instead, it'll stay with Southern Maine. What a basket that was for Osborne, who looked inches away from being called for a travel of her own.
She just threw it up on that one and kind of said, hey, I hope this goes in, and if it doesn't, I hope one of my teammates gets the rebound.
Well, when you have the hot shooting touch, and no one in the country is hotter than Shania Osborne, legitimately has not missed in the past 3 games, as Grassi gets a hand on a pair of shots from Eels. That shot clock reset. Not quite sure if it should have. Ball put into the hands of Jackson. Beacons within 2. They have not tied it since the early going. Osborne down the lane. We're all tied up at 46. 90 seconds left in the third quarter, and UMass Boston has fought back from another big deficit to tie the game.
And Shania Osborne carrying this team right now. She's in double-digit points right now at the least, and she's been their driving force today.
Nicely a nice move, but can't finish, and the Beacons have a chance to take their first lead of the game here at home. Southern Maine led by as many as 9. The Beacons have not led in this contest. In fact, they've trailed for pretty much the entire way. The teams couldn't score a point the first 2:21. That's the only reason the Beacons haven't trailed the entire 30 minutes. Osborne yet to miss. Over for Grassi, a long ball fake, and the floater too strong. Osborne, Grassi fighting for it, and Joie grabs the rebound. The Beacons have a new shot clock, 10-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Jackson, Grassi, Fulton, Osborne and Matthew, 4 freshmen and 1 senior out there for the Beacons. Jackson working on Nicholson, a pair of screens to her right. Curley picks her up, Grassi drives, and one opportunity. The Beacons, their first lead of the game, and it's Joie Grassi who has 7 points in the quarter, a chance to make it 8 and give the Beacons a 3-point lead.
And that right there is Joie Grassi's go-to play. She sets that beautiful screen. Jelani Jackson with a great feed. And, that's worked so many times in the past, is that nice little and one basket. And Joie Grassi just using her height and her long arms to her advantage. Great play by the Beacons over there to take the lead.
Southern Maine will use their timeout, coincidentally first time out of the quarter, so it'll lead to a media. We'll take a commercial break, bring you that last play, and the final 21.9 of the quarter. UMass Boston with their first lead of the game with 21.9 seconds left in quarter number 3.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
I love that play.
Right now we'll take a look at the replay. Gigi, just mentioning that you love that play. Let's see why you love it so much. The Beacons have used this several times this year, and we actually started a little bit late there But Gigi, it's the double screen up top with the point guard going that direction that kind of leaves the defense a little bit confused and leads to the easy roll for Joie Grassi.
Yeah, and she rolls perfectly. She times her roll perfectly to the basket to where her defender is still finding out where she is, and by the time she gets there, the other girl stepped in. And there you see it, Joie Grassi with a 3-point play to give the Beacons that 3-point lead, and that's what you want to see from her.
Grassi 0 for 4 on her first 4 free throws, 3 of her last 3. The Beacons' lead is 3 with 15 seconds left in the quarter. Shot clock turned off. Hard drive from Shrilovitz. Foul on the floor, but she'll get 2 free throws nonetheless. That's the 5th one on the Beacons. And actually, with that foul for Southern Maine, they're also in the bonus. So if the Beacons can draw a foul, or if Southern Maine can draw a foul in these final 12.1 seconds, it'll lead to 2 free throws. Just the first on Whitney Fulton. And we'll see the Montreal native head to the line, where Shrilovitz is a team best 80.9% on the season. Shrilovitz knocks down the first. And the second as well. So the 80% shooter is good on both. Grassi finds Jackson. Beacons have 12. Ahead for Matthew. Finds Grassi with 7. Grassi trying to find Osborne. Able to get underneath Eels. And the Beacons a late 2 to push the lead back to 3. And that'll do it for the third quarter. Shania Osborne and Joie Grassi, the Beacons' 2 highly touted bigs, get hot at the right time. And Gigi, this sets up quite an exciting fourth quarter here at the Clark.
Absolutely, with both teams having that momentum, and it's a switch of momentum, and the Beacons are on it right now. They're red hot. Shania Osborne leading this team in points, I assume, right now, and Joie Grassi just doing what she does best. And right now the Beacons are unstoppable, and I'm sure that the Huskies are definitely talking about that and how are they going to stop Shania Osborne. I don't know if on that last play if Eels might have tripped or something.
I think she was just trying to get the front there and potentially steal it away and couldn't. And it was a nice job by Osborne sealing her off.
Absolutely, and that's what you love to see, though, is you love to see a big who can use her strong body to her advantage, get to where she wants to be, that easy little left-hand layup. Shania Osborne, someone who can, hit that mid-range jumper every now and then, but she loves being in that paint, and she dominates that paint. She lets you know that she's there.
Shania Osborne on the day, 15 points, 7 of 7 from the field, 6 rebounds. Shania Osborne, her last 3 games, 16 of 16 from the field. There's hot and then there's scorching, and Osborne, this point, is basically can't miss. So we'll see if the Beacons can consistently go to her. Now the one question is, how much does she have left in her legs, as Osborne has played a significant amount of minutes compared to what she's used to. Osborne will start the fourth quarter. We'll see how long she can last. The Beacons going with Jelani Jackson, Joie Grassi, Katie Matthew, Whitney Fulton, and Shania Osborne. On the other side, it's Alexis Shrilovitz, Kimberly Howergan out there with their 3 fouls, Chantel Eels, Kristen Curley, and Emily Nicholson for the Huskies. Both teams at 6-1 in conference play. Osborne kicks it over for Matthew, passes up the 3, and Osborne, there's a tie-up, and the tie-up will end up going to Southern Maine. It seems like every time we've had a jump ball today, Gigi, it's gone to Southern Maine. We haven't had a ton of them, but it's kind of funny that it's worked out there as 3 Huskies converged on Osborne, and we're able to avoid giving the foul.
If I'm Katie Matthew on that play, though, I love the unselfishness, but go up with that.
Whitney Fulton does a nice job of getting in front of the pass. Ahead for Grassi, all alone. The right-hand lay-in, and the Beacons have their largest lead at 5. Joie Grassi had 3 points in the first half, and Grassi's into double digits. She's got 13 for the game, one of 3 Beacons with 13 or more points. Good sign for UMass Boston. Eels works on Osborne, needs to kick it out, finds Howergan, drives left, over Osborne. That's an unbelievable shot.
And, Howergan is one of those players that we've talked about that has done her job as playing, being a role player. She's completed her job. She's done a good job on Osborne. She's producing as well on the offensive end.
Howergan, the 4th Husky into double digits, as Shania Osborne just missed, folks. It took 3+ games, but Osborne finally misses a little bit short on that lane attempt, and Southern Maine has a chance to cut it within 1 or potentially take the lead. Beacons immediately send Gianna Williams to the scorer's table. Curley wide open, misses, but the Beacons don't rebound, and there's a nice block from Grassi as Osborne is bent over, working on her knee brace, but still clearly fatigued at this point. Grassi working on Howergan. Finds Fulton, drives, kicks it out. Grassi looking for three. Can't quite connect. Great look from Grassi from in front of her own bench. Both teams probably have a little bit of fatigue. Southern Maine has only really played 6 or 7 players for any kind of real minutes in this game. Eels, can she attack the tired Osborne? Blocked by Shania, and the ball's out of bounds off of Eels, who can't believe the no call. UMass Boston will send out fresh legs. Raven Kelsey replaces Whitney Fulton, and Gianna Williams, a big two-handed high five for Shania Osborne, who has played very well in what could be her most minutes of the year.
Coach Ball right now has to be very proud with the way that Shania Osborne has played. But now the task is on to Gianna Williams. Can Gianna Williams contain Eels? Can she produce in the offensive end, giving Shania Osborne a little bit of a break?
If she can rebound and play defense, I think that Christina Ball will be really happy. Great pass down low for Grassi, can't finish. And who else? It's Chantel Eels there. And now Eels will draw the foul on Kelsey as the Beacons couldn't contain her with the double team. For Raven Kelsey, that's only her second. First on the Beacons, first on either side here in the fourth quarter.
Raven Kelsey is one of those players who's just so aggressive on both ends, and you love to see it as a coach and as a fan, but sometimes comes back to bite her a little bit.
Eels, the catch on the block, back up top for Howergan. Howergan gets a screen off the mark, but Eels grabs the rebound and puts it in. Williams out of position there, getting back. 53-52. Southern Maine led for the first 29 minutes. The Beacons took a lead at the end of the third quarter, trying to hold on to it here in the fourth. Kelsey for Grassi, who has the hot hand. Williams wanted it. Now it's Jackson in the corner. Kelsey with 12 on the shot clock. What can she do here? Kelsey drives, finds Matthew, already with 4 threes. Back for Kelsey. She'll take the three from the corner. Front rim, no good. Long rebound into the hands of Nicholson. Howergan looking to slow for Nicholson. The long throw ahead for Shrilovitz. Such a calm point guard for this Southern Maine side. Shrilovitz gets the screen from Eels. Williams isn't going to leave her. Kicked out wide open three for Howergan as Grassi had to come over, and Southern Maine has the lead right back at 55-52.
Kimberly Howergan right now is just really leading this team, as you see her over there clapping her hands and just getting her team going a little bit. They've taken back the lead, and no thanks to her.
Grassi draws the foul and one. Joie Grassi came alive midway through the third, and that's a beautiful move around a pair of players, and she'll have a chance to give the Beacons the lead. Thus far, she's 3 of 7 from the free throw line, but has hit 3 in a row. So we'll see Vital check in, and it's going to be Alicia Quinones to spell Grassi after this free throw if Grassi hits it. We haven't seen Alicia since she picked up 2 quick fouls in the first quarter.
And I've said it before, Joie Grassi using her long arms, and that's what she does best, is getting herself to the hoop.
Grassi unable to finish, so we're all tied at 55. 6:09 to go. There's a deep three. And it's Kristen Curley with the rare basket. Knocks down her third triple of the day. She's got 14 to lead Southern Maine. Beacons down by 3. What can they do to answer? 50 seconds away from the medium. Perfect pass from Vital to find Grassi.
And that's what you love to see from Lydia Vital. She hasn't played very much in the third quarter due to her 3 fouls, but she's back in this fourth quarter. I'm sure Christina Baugh is going to put her out there for all that she's worth. And that's just a great pass. What a feed.
Joie Grassi's got 17 points and 9 rebounds. Grassi fighting for the steal, and she's got it. A lot of contact, but no call. Matthew running on a 4-on-2. Wide for Vital in front of her own bench. The 3 is up too strong. Grassi's there, and it's stolen away. Beautiful hands from Howergan to take it out of the hands of Grassi. And we'll get a timeout from Southern Maine. That might actually help the Beacons, as they did not have numbers back. And Joie Grassi clearly needs a seat. So we'll take a stoppage along with the teams. A 1-point game with 5:19 to go. We're going to have a good finish for you here, folks, on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
5:19 to go in the fourth quarter. The Beacons trail by 1. Real quick, we'll take a look at our social media, folks. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at UMass Beacons. You can also follow us on beaconsathletics.com. We'll have updates after the game on this one. And, of course, our men's basketball game, second half of our doubleheader between these two programs. That game's scheduled to start at 7:30 or about 20 minutes after the conclusion of our opener. Remember, last 4 home games here in Boston, Southern Maine 4-0 by a combined 12 points. Can the Beacons earn their first ever win over Southern Maine in Boston? That's the task at hand. They trail by 1 with 5:19 to play. Nicely, Sherlovitz, Nicholson, Howrigan, and Curley for Southern Maine. Matthew, Vital, Osborne, Kelsey, and Quinones for the Beacons. Tapped away by Vital, and it's a kick by Quinones. Otherwise, the Beacons would have had possession.
I don't think we've seen Alicia Quinones since, the second quarter?
I think it was the
fouls,
first.
right?
I think she picked
quarter.
up those 2 quick fouls. Beacons hoping she can provide maybe a little bit of energy and defensive spark. Catch from Nicely over for Howrigan. She's been so good. Too deep on the triple. And a nice closeout by Matthew, maybe to alter the shot a bit. Under 5 minutes to play. The Beacons trying to set it up. Osborne 7 of 8 today. Howrigan asking for a 3 seconds, and she's going to get it. My question, Gigi, is Shania Osborne was camped out there, but Howrigan was behind her in the paint. That 3-second call goes both ways.
Absolutely, and that's something that I'm pretty sure Coach Paul's a little upset about that too. And the refs kind of got to take a little bit of a concern about that.
I mean, give 100% credit to Howrigan, who was charged with guarding Osborne. There's not much you can do as Vital's called for her 4th. Got a little bit of the back there of Howrigan, who will head to the line for 2. And maybe even Samantha Allen told her defenders to ask the refs for that, but it wasn't as if Howrigan was trying to step out and step back in. As we'll see 2 free throws from Howrigan, 44% free throw shooter, knocks down the first. Howrigan now up to 15 points on the day. She'd hit double digits just 4 times in her first 17 games. Knocks them both down. 3-point Southern Maine lead. Southern Maine is now 8 of 11 on free throws. We've got a hip check there on Curley. Should be just her second. And now 2 on both teams with 4:28 to go in the quarter.
If the Beacons go a little small, and even right now on this play, if they push the ball, that same play is going to happen over and over again, where Alicia Quinones tries to get to the hoop, and you get a foul on him.
Matthew with a slew of players on the near side. Picks it up, finds Osborne. Triple team, lost the dribble. Stripped from behind off of Osborne's foot. Another phenomenal play from Alexa Sherlovitz.
The fact that she matches up with Lydia Vital so well is they're both really great point guards, and they're both so quick and fast, and they know their capabilities helping out their bigs.
And high IQs as well, as Sherlovitz is wide open on the near side. The Beacons don't recognize it. Eels from the free throw line as Vital tried to get there. Curley a deep 3. Rather, that was Nicholson, and she's too strong. Beacons could desperately use points on this possession to get back within 1 or tie the game. Joie Grassi, who's had the hot hand, the Beacons' top scorer, back at the scorer's table. Vital, backdoor cut from Matthew, and she's too strong. No need there, and she just threw it up as Osborne's going to be called for the reach-in. That is a costly miss if the Beacons end up losing this game by a single position. Matthew was so wide open that she just rushed a shot.
And you hate to see that. That is just, wow. Yeah, that's a bummer for the Beacons right now, because that was a beautiful pass by Lydia Vital there. And Katie Matthew did everything right. She did everything right. She got in the right positioning. Just maybe panicked a little bit at the last second.
See if the Beacons can get a stop as Grassi replaces Quinones. Curley turns and shoots, misses. Kelsey a big rebound. Dribbles through a little bit of contact, and now it's a 4-on-2. Leaves it for Grassi. Lost the dribble and somehow able to hold on and knock down the 3. That'll force a timeout, so the Beacons able to answer after the missed 2. And it's 20 points and 10 rebounds on the night for Grassi, who had 15 or less the last 4 games. She is stepped up to the task. We're tied at 60 with 3:16 to go. Take one last commercial and be back here on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the
60-60, 3:16 to go. Possession arrow in favor of the Beacons. Both teams, well, now the Beacons have 3. Southern Maine has 2 fouls. Beacons will go with Grassi, Vital, Osborne, Kelsey, and Matthew. Gigi, real quick, what's your biggest key here in the final 3:15?
Defensive stops. Got to get the stops on the defensive end, and you could produce on the offensive end.
UMass Boston, these seniors have had quite a few heartbreaking losses here at home against Southern Maine. They do have 3 wins. Can they earn their first ever here at home? Great play by Eels, but she misses the lay-in. Vital in transition has so much speed, leaves it for Grassi. Grassi was closed out by Howergan, finds Osborne, and the Beacons had the lead once again. They've only led at the end of the third and for about half of the fourth. But it's a 62-60 game as Shania Osborne is right on the heels of Grassi. Deep 3 from Cholovitz. What an answer from the Canadian. And it's 63-62 Southern Maine.
I don't think the Beacons have played this close of a game in recent times. They just came off a win from Keene State of 30 or more points. And as you see Katie Matthew there with the travel, but Southern Maine, and I believe their previous game, they won on a buzzer beater shot by Curley, and the Beacons I don't think they're really used to this high intensity at the last couple minutes of the fourth quarter.
Well, Southern Maine's only played 2 close games this year, a home win over Regis that went to overtime and that game on Saturday. The Beacons have really only played 2 or 3 of those games, including a road win over MIT that went down to the final minute, which they trailed pretty much the whole game. Eels back for Curley, mismatch against Osborne. Her jumper is short, and the Beacons have a chance to take the lead with under 2 minutes. Vital over for Grassi. She's got 20. Osborne has 17. The kick, wide open. Matthew looking for her 5th 3. Give it to her. UMass Boston leads by 2 with 1:40 to play.
And we haven't talked much about Katie Matthew. We've been harping on Shania Osborne and Joie Grassi in this second half, but she's bringing us a taste of her first half and just hitting those 3 right where it counts.
Beacons have 65 points, 54 of them from the combination of Osborne, Grassi, and Matthew. Eels looking for a pass, finds Howergan. Southern Maine has 10 on the shot clock. What can Chilovich do with it? Down to 6, gets the screen from Eels. Double team, now triple team, knocked away by Grassi. Beacons running 2v2. It's tapped out of the hands of Vital. Nicholson can't believe it, but she's going to be charged with a personal, just a 3rd on Southern Maine.
And that's kind of, might be a smart play there if you're a Nicholson, because you get the foul, you're not in foul trouble. Well, to speak, she only has 2 fouls. That's the only, it's only the 3rd team foul here, stopping Lydia Vital from getting potentially 2 easy points.
Does give the Beacons a new 30. We'll see how much of that they elect to use here up 2. Kelsey looks to drive through a double team, draws the blocking foul there on Howergan. That should be her 4th, and 4 on Southern Maine. Next foul leads to a pair of free throws for UMass Boston. It is 4 on Howergan. She's got 4, as does Lydia Vital for the Beacons. Can the Beacons make history in this final 1:05? Vital gets it in for Kelsey. Kelsey had a lane to the hoop, didn't recognize it. Matthew will pull it out. Minute to go, 25 on the shot clock. The Beacons could play for a 2-for-1 here. Matthew for Osborne, double team, has the kick, finds Kelsey. Could have had Grassi, instead takes it herself. 3's too deep, Grassi the offensive board. For Osborne, double team, and they're going to call it travel before she fell. Not the worst thing there for the Beacons. 47.2 left, 30 on the shot clock. We'll see a timeout. Even if Southern Maine ties or takes the lead, the Beacons will get a chance to answer right back.
But the thing there is Raven Kelsey with the shot, Joie Grassi an amazing rebound, I get that she was trying to push the ball and get another point, get a little cushion there on the lead, but at that point, kick the ball out.
Well, my bigger issue on that play, and we'll see if we can take it real quick as the teams are still in their huddles. Raven Kelsey had the ball at the wing. A player was flying out to her. One of the Beacons' assistants, it was Jesus Rodriguez, was just screaming at Kelsey, kick it one more time. Joie Grassi wide open in front of the bench. That's your hottest shooter today. She's been red hot. She has 17 points alone in the second half, 3 of 7 from distance. And instead, Kelsey, who has not had her best offensive night, 9 points, 1 of 7 from deep, takes the 3. We'll see what the Beacons do here. They'll send out Osborne, Matthew, Vital, Grassi, and Kelsey. They're starting 5. Southern Maine has not come out of their huddle yet as there's a discussion with the referees and Southern Maine head coach Samantha Allen. This is a huge final minute for these two sides, both at 6-1 in conference play. Southern Maine winners of 9 of their past 11 after an 0-6 start. The Beacons have won 14 of 15. Both teams lone loss at UMass Dartmouth. Both teams will have a chance at home against the Corsairs in February. And then remember a Valentine's date between these two sides up in Gorham where the Beacons have won 3 in a row. Nicholson out there with Eels, Hourigan, Curley, and Sherlovitz. A 2-point Beacons lead. Matthew on the ball. They find Sherlovitz. 4 of the 5 players out there for Southern Maine in double figures. Sherlovitz finds Eels, looks to drive on Osborne. Back for Sherlovitz. The Beacons have a foul to give if they want to. Sherlovitz the law on 2. It's too strong. Rebound into the hands of Matthew. Finds Vital. She's an 80+% free throw shooter. She's the player the Beacons want to shoot free throws, and she'll head to the line for 2 with a chance to make it a 2-possession game.
And you see there the Southern Maine's coach, Samantha Allen, just screaming at her players, you got to foul her, you got to foul her, and that's exactly what you have to do. It's a 2-point game. It's such a close game. There's no more shot clock.
Vital on the year, 84.2%. Tops on the Beacons, 32 of 38. Has not taken enough free throws to qualify for the conference leaders. Certainly one of the better free throw shooters. Sends the first one up and good. A player who is so clutch for UMass Boston. Member of a championship team a year ago at Keene State. She makes it a 3-point game. Can she make it a 2-possession game with the second? Knocks it down. Both of them did not catch the rim at all. And we'll see a Southern Maine timeout. They're going to move the ball across the half-court line, save some time with 27.5 seconds. All right, JG, first we'll start with Southern Maine. Do you need a 3 right now, down by 4?
That's tough. There's so many ways you can go about it. If you get a 3 now, you're still down by 1. You're gonna have to foul again. You're gonna have to put them back on the. You're gonna have to put the Beacons back on the free throw line. See if you can maybe get a one. Only
quick
one.
steal.
Yeah, a quick steal there. But then again, if you need to get a point here, that's your big thing. Is you need to get the ball to someone who's a good 3-point shooter. Sherlovitz, Curley, one of them, someone who can shoot the ball with confidence. Or you go for an easy 2, try to get a stop on the defensive end, and press the ball up the court.
And I like this. UMass Boston putting Shania Osborne on the bench, replacing her with Gianna Williams. Williams, 9 of 12 on the year from the free throw line. Pretty good free throw shooter, and she's a little bit faster than Osborne, who's got to be tuckered out. She'll guard Chantel Eels. Nicholson, the inbounder, finds Sherlovitz. She's capable of knocking down the 3. Looks to drive on the smaller Vital with 4 fouls. Picks up her dribble. Tries to find Nicholson, who catches it after it was off the hands of a Beacon. Kelsey the rebound, and she's fouled. 16.9 seconds left. This game is not over yet, but Raven Kelsey, one of the Beacon seniors, has a chance to put the lid on a little bit harder, as Kelsey, the Boston native, 65% free throw shooter. She's one of those Beacons who have been here for the past 4 years, have never won at home, including a couple of games where the Beacons were heavy favorites going in. Knocks down the first. Beacons had not shot free throws well all game long, but they've hit them late. 3 in a row. Kelsey can pretty much put this game away with the second. 69-63. Kelsey hits both. 16.9 seconds left, and Southern Maine needs a pair of 3s. Sherlovitz into the front court. Sherlovitz still with it, trying to find an opening. Harrigan's shot is blocked. Eels can't handle it. It's Vital. She'll be fouled, and the Beacons are going to do something that no team in UMass Boston program history has done. Beat Southern Maine in Boston. It's taken a really long time, but the Beacons earned their first ever win over the Huskies 3 years ago on the road. They've done it each of the past 3 years, and now this team that has been so special, a chance to go to 16-2, will have finally done it. They'll now be 1-32 here at home, and that one comes in such a pivotal LEC battle.
What better team to do it? A team of Beacons who haven't lost at home yet.
8-0 with this one as they stretch the lead to 8. Harrigan will find Sherlovitz. They'll play the last 7 seconds, but it's all semantics. Eels is going to try another triple, a little bit short, and that will do it. UMass Boston, a historic win and a nice bounce back after the first half in which they really struggled. The Beacons took their first lead with 20 seconds left in the third quarter, and then a late run. It was a lot closer than the final score indicates as the Beacons hold on and set up a really fun grudge match on Valentine's Day. We'll take a brief break, be back with an interview with Christina Ball, and then we've got another basketball game to talk about. The second half of our doubleheader will come up about 20 minutes after this one.
You tell me it gets better in time. You say I pull myself together.
It's on us.
It's on us.
It's on us.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
It's on us to act as a family and protect one another.
Not hurt one another.
It's on us to trust our instincts and be direct.
To talk openly and honestly about sexual assault.
It's on us.
To not be a bystander.
If you see something, say something.
And to intervene in any way that you can.
It's on us.
If someone does not or cannot consent to sex, that is rape.
Consent is voluntary and mutual. It can be withdrawn at any time.
And past consent does not mean current or future consent.
There is no consent when there is force, intimidation, or coercion.
1 out of every 16 male college students are raped.
And 1 out of every 5 female college students. Which one of us?
And which one of us?
One thing that we all need to remember is
to never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stop it at the source.
And to spread the word.
So take the pledge and get involved.
The pledge is a personal commitment to help keep men and women safe from sexual assault.
It is a promise not to be a bystander to the problem,
but to be a part of the solution.
It's on us. It's on us.
It's on us.
Joined courtside by Christina Bach. Coach, we'll start with the history. You've never beaten Southern Maine at home. They've been very good for their entire program history. What does it mean not only to finally do it, but to do it against a really good Southern Maine team in a really important LEC game?
Yeah, big game. I knew they were super disciplined, and obviously we're tied for second. And after Dartmouth, trying to get back to who we are. And I just knew, again, they were so disciplined, you know, with 14 freshmen. Could we match that discipline when we made adjustments and when we were going to go zone a little bit and trap and do different things? And, you know, we didn't shoot the ball great tonight, but yeah, we believed. And that was something at halftime I questioned, were we still locked in? And clearly we were.
54 points from Katie Matthews, Shania Osborne, and Joie Grassi. Talked about needing a third scorer. Well, Joie Grassi came up huge in that second half. We talked a little bit about the first two. What does this mean, especially for Joie, who had been scuffling a little bit the last couple of games, to come out and really make a statement here in the second half?
Yeah, she's a gamer. You know, she missed a lot, like you said, in the first half. And it's funny, we were just talking about that. You take that kid out, you put